Hello everyone, Kurt Alford here, and welcome back to another episode from Federal Labs. Today we're going to be building upon what I discussed last week in regards to how we use the Segno to build our structure and how we may be able to utilize his four virtues and the lines on the Segno to kind of give us an understanding of how we can build upon good structures for combat actions. This week we're going to be talking about Fiore's four footwork concepts he talks about, which is the accrescimento, decrescimento, passare, and tornare. And I'll be going a little bit more into that here in a minute. But once again, we'll be utilizing the Segno to be able to see how we can make movement happen, but still keep our Segno as our structure still remain intact. So with that being said, let's get into it. So once again, we're here at the taping area. And once again, I have my Segno laid out. And once again, we're not going to be using the sword here in any case. The reason why I have one is to be able to point out onto these lines. We can utilize this right here to be able to help ourselves out as far as making sure not only do we have good structure, as was described in the previous video, but also utilize this right here to kind of map out what our increasing and decreasing limits are when it comes down to footwork. Remember, there's four things that Fiore talks about as far as footwork are concerned. And to me, they're just mechanics. So, for example here, if I'm staying off to the side right here, I have my good elephant stance, I know I'm grounded, I can move, I'm able to move in different directions and I can see everything in front of me. The lead leg and the rear leg operate by expansion and retraction. So, accrescere, discrescere to increase, decrease, increase, decrease. We can utilize the Segno for two purposes right here that allow us to help out. So one, I like to use this middle line right here to make sure, one, I'm not too narrow with my feet so I'm wobbly. And I like to make it so that once I have that structure, I have a lane here that I know where to move in. And that will play into other considerations later on. For right now, we just focus on the four movements, the stepping and whatnot, and then we'll move into other concepts later. So this right here, when I talk about accrescere, discrescere, I can map myself out. And typically for me, I put myself here so my foot's off line. Once I have that, and I map it to where my front foot here is on this strip of tape. So when I accress, I notice here with me, with that lead leg, I find that either I have my heels touching here, or I'm just beyond it, so that I can retract. So I have that retraction piece here to move. The ability to retract, to extend, retract, extend, retract. And what that does also is, when I come here with this foot has got to come up, and I find typically that my toe is on this line. So as I stand here, I find what works for me on either having the left foot forward, etc. To go the other way, you just step to the other side and you repeat this. Again, this is taped to what my specifications are. I encourage you to do the same thing for yourself. Explore these types of things. Typically, I work right here where off that line, I build my toes here. That's my shoulder width apart, and I just tape that out. That'll come to a factor later on. So that is utilizing a crest, this crest, and I can see what's my really deep one, what's my shallow one. And it allows me to kind of map that for myself because that helps me be able to maintain grounding and whatnot. The next one we talk about is passare and tornare. Passare and tornare, as described, at least for the manual, it's the point where essentially our legs pass here with each other. But you got to remember, at some point in time here, essentially, we're utilizing accrescing and discrescing as another concept of moving forward. So I am decreasing to the point where I'm planed, and then I'm increasing out from that, right? So passare just puts it as one concept, so passare. And I utilize this right here, once again, to map out how far my step is when it comes down to that passare and my tornare. Again, I get myself in that good stance. I have myself in position, holding the sword, not holding the sword, whatever, and I just step forward. Remember, this is not turning yet. We're going to get to that. But just by stepping forward, I realize that my heel is on this line right here. Of course, I can map what's my really deep step. And by that deep step, I can feel like when I have to go really deep and then decrease the stepping. Or a very shallow step, which means I have to extend to get back to that grounding. Play with that. And again, once you've done that, switch to the other side and you just do the same thing. And again, for me, what I see is, in my step right here, that essentially is this. Just being able to map and see where these steps go. Those are the 4 steps of Fiore, and they're very basic and very easy. And you can take those things in many different directions here. We're going to talk about the turns in another video and how that actually shifts our direction points. But the 4 footwork that he's got is just decresse, decresse, passar, and tonar. So that's it. That's a very easy movement right there as far as being able to move and how we can utilize the lines of the Segno to be able to create space, step, and also keep ourselves within balance. So with that being the case here, like I said, this is just, again, we're building this up here, start of the new year, want to start from the structures all the way up here. And I wanted to give more about what people can be doing on their own here, whether you're in my class, or whether you're out there on your own, or whether you're someone that's also cited as maybe this is new perspective, maybe it's not, or maybe it's just something that gets you into as far as like how do you build up your own training regimens as for other things. Curious to hear what people have to say out there. Again, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this. Share it with a friend. I'm here to help out as far as giving people that idea as far as what this manuscripts are about. And I hope that it brings some joy out to some people out there in the new year as they decide new pastimes, new hobbies, new passions for them to follow into. With that being the case, as always, train well, stay safe, and fight on.